Welcome back to One Life Radio. This is Bernadette with Diamond Gray. I've got Aviana Barrientos in studio with us and Jill Lane. She is a pro athlete health and nutrition coach and founder of Fueling Champions, a 3-step sports performance and athletic nutrition program built to maximize the potential of student athletes and the parents that support them. You can find her on Instagram at Team Fueling Champions or grab free resources at her website, fuelingchampions.org. We started talking about smart supplementation, where to start, what to buy, and why. Let's continue with this. So, Jill, you've been in the supplement industry for many, many years. What do you think is the biggest misconception around vitamins and supplements?
Well, we started talking a little bit about it before Dr. Cantley came on, and I'm so hot about his segment, by the way. I'm just so fired up about just...
Speak on it.
I'm just so angry that it has to be deemed, not at him. I love the research he's doing, and he's putting out the exact right message, and I pray that he continues to have funding to research the things that he's researching, because it is about where the money goes, what you get to research. And so I'm just... the fact that teaching people how to eat the right way and exercise isn't a money-making thing for medicine, or more specifically for the pharmaceutical companies. And so it's not being done disgusts me.
It does me too.
Disgusts me.
Yeah.
It's the right thing for the patient, and that should be what's being done. Well, then people will be like, well, they're not going to change anyways. Well, then you know what? We need to set up a system that helps people walk through change.
Yeah.
Because it's a psychological thing, creating behavior change, and you need the added support. There's too many smart people in this world and in this country that we cannot find out a way to monetize this so that we can put the right kind of food and the right kind of exercise education into medicine to benefit cancer, heart disease, you name it under the sun. And it disgusts me.
Yeah,
I'm so disgusted right now.
Well, I think of my grandfather, who was a medical doctor, Dr. Frank Hicken, Cleveland, Case Western University, a very kind and very philanthropic man. And it's okay. I can brag about my grandfather, right? He was a doctor back in a time when medicine was something that was so honorable, right, if you will. And he truly healed so many people. There's a street named after him, and a lot of times he didn't charge people. He just fixed them or helped them or guided them or whatever. And those days seem like they're so lost with all the greed in this country and the pharmaceutical companies and their agenda that they have and how they control so much of big media and magazines. I'm going to find out about Reader's Digest too. I want to know who their biggest advertisers are, because when you're putting out information like that can affect a person's health overall, it's just not cool. Yeah. It's not cool.
And I think, and I say medicine, but I think it's really pharmaceuticals, because that's where the money is made. A doctor doesn't always, make money from the prescriptions that they're writing. However, they're being taught or told that that's the standard of care. Right. And if they deviate from that, then their liability risk goes up. But, what Dr. Cantley said is just so telling. I hope people just really hear that because they're not making money off teaching you to eat better, they're not doing it. Right. You have to take your own health into your own hands, people. It doesn't mean don't trust your doctor, don't go to the doctor when you need to, but you have to be in charge of your health. You do. You have to.
And you do. And you have to ask questions. I mean, the fact that even pediatricians get an extra bonus per child every year for everyone that gets fully vaccinated, that follows their schedule that's recommended by the CDC, they get a monetary benefit from that. Should make everyone out there listening, should make their hair stand on end. It really should. I mean, that seems so corrupt to me. It really does. It really, really does. And I think that we're going to find there's a lot of lies out there about vaccines as well, how they push them so much. It is so incredible, the push for vaccines now more than ever. Speaking of my grandfather, I bet my grandfather probably only had, 1 or 2 vaccines?
Probably.
My father, 1 or 2, maybe 3 vaccines, lived to be 98. You see, somebody asked that obvious question. All these elderly, they didn't receive a lot of vaccines. Maybe they get them now if they're in a nursing home because they push the flu shot, they push this, they push that. It's always something that they're pushing because there's a profit involved, and it doesn't make it right. So
it's I have a friend in the hospital who, thanks to an amazingly talented surgeon, is basically potentially I don't want to say cured, but fixed from something they thought was inoperable in her brain, a young woman in early 50s. And so I'm so thankful for the talent in medicine and for the advancements in technology that we have. But that's, we're talking about the day-to-day stuff, what you choose on the end of your fork, and if you choose to move. And we have a serious crisis. Our kids are bigger and unhealthy than they've ever been, and we need to do something about it. And just to hear it from the horse's mouth, a brilliant, researcher and Ph.D. from some of the top institutions in our country say, they're not making money off of it. That's why they're not doing it. It just makes my skin crawl.
Me too.
So it, again, reinforces what we talk about so much on this show, that you have to be responsible for what goes in your shopping basket. You have to be responsible for what you put in your mouth. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be consistent. And the less sugar you eat, the better. And he said it right. He doesn't eat foods with added sugar. So just start to scale back. Start to scale back every chance you get. Start with things with high fructose corn syrup and artificial sweeteners. Start there. And then just start to weed it out of your house.
Yeah. I mean, it's in chewing gum. It's in everything. Chewing gum is a big violator of putting artificial sweeteners. And just read your labels, because it say, now made with xylitol, then you flip it over, and then like the fourth ingredient is aspartame.
Right.
Which is one of the most researched.
If you care about your brain, you don't eat or drink aspartame. Let's just leave it at that.
Yeah. So let's go to the supplementation. Do you think people? What do you think people are most unaware of when it comes to smart supplementation?
That there's actually a very good amount of data on certain, vitamin D, fish oil, curcumin. That there is data to show that supplementation can be can be helpful if used correctly. Now, I don't know. I was going to say something, but I'm going to retract it. I was going to say, it doesn't take the place of medicine. But you know what?
Well,
I wanted to retract that, because there's some stuff. Sean talks a ton about berberine and how in research it's been shown to be equally as effective as metformin, plus a zillion other things it does that metformin doesn't do. Does that mean we're not saying stop your metformin today, start berberine, or if your doctor told you to start metformin, start berberine instead? We're just saying there actually is data to show that some of these things work equally as equal as some medications that are out there.
I'm thinking of Misty Weiner with her son that shut down Tourette's with hemp oil, with CBD.
Right.
He was not even able to go to school. His whole life was disrupted for years, and he got 2 days. After 2 days of taking hemp oil, the boy's tremors stopped, and he was able to go back to school. Now, I mean, it's not rocket scientist. Why is that not more prevalent? Why is information like that not more prevalent? You have to ask yourself the question, why?
Well, speaking of money, that one is about to be more prevalent, because there's currently a patent on hemp oil for its use in childhood seizure, and whether that falls into someone who has Tourette's. So, again, sometimes you follow the money trails, but one thing it should tell you is there is solid research for a handful, if not more, supplements. You just need to know where to buy them. We'll talk about that more another time. There's a great resource at oneliferadio.com where the big dogs in the U.S. get their supplements from. Yeah. So at least start there.
Well, I'm going to give a shout out to our great sponsors, that companies that I love and I appreciate their transparency. Sun Warrior, Squatty Potty, the H-Hemp Company, Paleo Magazine, the Wellbeing Journal, and the International Society of Sports Nutrition. And go to oneliferadio.com and check out our Thorne Dispensary. And listen to the podcast, or go to iHeartMedia.com to listen live anywhere in the world. Everyone, thank you so much for listening. You get one body, you get one mind, and you get one life. Get out there today and make the most of it.